I have to ask you this: that you interrogated these terrorists. There's no other weird word for it. They are mass murderers. They want to kill and maim people who are lawmakers, general public. They want to create chaos in this country. You interview them, you interrogate them. You also meet with their family members. How is it that some politicians are saying that it is unethical to take family members in custody?
See, it's not a question of taking them into custody. They're basically examining them. I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to arrest them and then interrogate them. The law gives you the powers to examine. And that is what is basically being done. So you examine the family members, find out whether they are involved or not. If they are not involved, they are free to go. But if they are involved, then obviously the law will take its own course.
Or can they give you some information which otherwise
their
you
cell
might be
phone
missing out on?
records and things like that?
Obviously. Everything is then
because now
under
it's
the
all
scanner.
electronic communication, right?
See, electronic
A lot of
communication, even there is human communication, everything. It's not that like if you look at the left, the Maoists, they don't use any electronic communication.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, during my time also, we arrested some of the. There is a lady called, I forget the name, Sareen or something like that. We had arrested. So all the communication of the Maoists are by mouth. It's person to person. No, they don't use any channels of communication.
So these educated terrorists
Sir,
who are
usko bhi
caught,
were you the person who arrested that guy, that Parsi fellow, very senior in the Maoist ranks?
No.
From Faridabad, I think. He was also arrested from Faridabad.
No, Faridabad doesn't come under jurisdiction, Delhi.
No, but
Yeah.
you're special cell, so special cell is special cell.
Used to be earlier.
So when you meet with these white collar terrorists, when you interrogate them, do you find them as hardened as the others?
See, I'll make a distinction now. When you interrogate criminals, I'm not talking about terrorism. I'm talking about real criminal like gang. I mean the low criminals, small time criminals, big time criminals. They're harder to crack.
Okay.
These people are not very hard to crack.
Why?
See, basically, I would say, they're not hardened criminals. You see, their minds have been, as Mr. Sareen put it, in their minds they want to do something for the sake of the community, of a larger cause or whatever it is. So when they are confronted, with all the evidence that we have available, then they break down. It doesn't take much time, to tell very frankly. Breaking down an ordinary criminal takes much more time than breaking down these people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have never had any issues.
But this Zawahiri and the others whom you're mentioning, they were doing recruiting, planning, plotting. वो खुद तो जाके suicide bomber नहीं बना. But this doctor who blew himself up in the Red Fort bombing, he's a doctor himself. But for a doctor to become a suicide bomber, didn't shock you?
No, it didn't entirely shock me because, look, I study Pakistan and I've seen a lot of this happening in Pakistan. Although that has not happened so much by the Islamists, but for example, there have been cases where there have been Baloch freedom fighters, women who are PhD scholars, with kids who have decided because of the oppression of Pakistanis to go and blow themselves up. So there have been a number of cases like that out there. So it doesn't really surprise me that somebody like him, if he actually was a suicide bomber, I'm still holding out on that judgment. Was it a suicide bombing? Did he actually blow himself up?
Or just panicked?
Or he panicked, or some I won't call it an accidental explosion.
Unless he has left a phone message somewhere.
See,
do they do that? Do they give clues?
Normally they do.
Huh.
Especially the jihadist lot, they normally leave this last testament kind of a thing, and a kind of a will which is then given to their families. Happened mostly with the Pakistani
because
groups.
3 hours he's sitting inside a car.
Yeah, so okay, so let's
you think he would have
let's
done
imagine
that?
we are making
I
a movie.
think he would have.
Let's imagine we are making a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm making a movie on this particular plot. And I am an ace director and I say, So here is this guy who is now sees the world closing
On him.
on
yeah.
him, right?
Yeah.
He has no option left. There is nothing, there's only darkness in front of him. Even if he wants to run away, where the hell will he run? The world is not big enough for him to run, right? There is nowhere, he's a rat who is caught in that rat trap. What does he do? Now, for 3 hours, he is getting agitated. He has been to a mosque, he has been to other places, and he realizes there's nothing left for him. Now he is suddenly even trying to figure out what he needs to do. Now, in that state of mind, he might actually decide that he's going to blow up the car. Again, what do you mean by a suicide bomber? That means that the bomb was rigged in the car and he had to press a button to explode it.
But they haven't found a detonator as
So,
yet. Maybe there was one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not prejudging that.
Correct.
But if he has to blow up the... One is a suicide bomber who's wearing
With the
a suicide
vest.
jacket.
हाँ, वो
right?
तो नहीं था.
वो तो नहीं था. The other is that there was a bomb which was rigged in the car. Was a bomb actually rigged in the car? Which means that it was a car bomb which was all set to go off, and here is a guy who triggered it. That once they investigate, they'll be able to find out whether there was a triggering mechanism or something which did this. Otherwise, it could be something that you've kept that explosive in a way that now you're hearing something about Kashmir, you know, that some explosives were taken out there. In that police
today, this
station.
morning
we don't
it's happened,
know
yeah.
what exactly happened, whether that was, again, the reports are that it was an accidental blast, but I don't know. We'll wait for more information on that. But the point is that it could be just this guy trying to figure out a way and this thing suddenly blows up, or he blows it up. But for him, in his desperate state, to become a suicide bomber is one thing, and to become a suicide bomber who knows that he's going to a certain place and going to go and blow himself out there is a completely different thing.
तो mindset अलग होता है between a fidain and a suicide bomber, because I mean the definition they interchangeable हो जाता है.
जो डिप्रेशन वाले की सुसाइड होती है और जो सुसाइड बॉम्बर की सुसाइड होती है उसमें फर्क होता है.
उसमें भी फर्क होता है.
तो ये में भी डिप्रेशन वाला सुसाइड बॉम्बर था.
That he saw the plot, he saw it all coming in.
See, because ammonium nitrate itself is not an explosive.
Yeah.
It has to be mixed with certain chemicals. Then you have
So maybe
to
it was
have
the process of becoming a bomb.
Yeah, I mean you have to have a timer, and then you have to have a what you call charging. It has to be, I mean, sort of a current has to pass through the detonator for triggering mechanism and all that. So until that means he has an IED in his vehicle, or the vehicle itself was an IED. So one doesn't know.
So the 2000 blast, which those guys who ran away or scaled the wall, they were fidains because they were not suicide. They didn't want to die.
No.
They wanted to.
Fidain. See what happens. When you are attacking in what you call an army camp, so there may be retaliation and you may die. But the fact is, at that point of time, there was not that much of a retaliation because no one was expecting it. So that's why they could escape.
But they were ready to die.
So obviously, when you are attacking an army camp, logically you can be shot.
So theologically, suicide is haram for these guys. So they never call themselves suicide bombers. So sir, just as a word of caution, please don't call them fidain. They would love to be called fidain. They should be called suicide bomber or a suicide attacker. Because suicide is haram for them. So they are haramis. So call them suicide bombers. Right? Number one. Number two, the theology is that look, once you go into that army camp, as Mr. Chand is saying, and he's absolutely correct, there is maybe a 1% chance that you can get away with it. Right? You've assaulted and something has happened and so there is, he has gone with the intention that if I die, I die. But there is a possibility that I might even escape. Right? And there have been a number of cases where they managed to escape. So the term which they use for themselves, even the guys who go and blow up a particular place and where death is assured, there is a particular term, I think it's called ishtihadi or something like that. That's the term they use. They never call themselves as a khudkush bombar. That is a term which the others give to them. The term which they give to them, say either a fidain, right, which gives you a certain religious connotations to it, or it is this ishtihadi, or I'm forgetting the exact pronunciation. It's that. But I think because, like I said, they're committing something haram, they're haramis, so call them suicide bomber or suicide attack.
Or haramis.
हाँ, और हरामीज, पर वो कॉनोटेशन उसका वैसे थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ हो जाता है. आप अखबार में तो नहीं लिख सकते ना कि ही वाज अ हरामी.
Tell me about Jama Masjid.
Jama Masjid, there was a bomb and there was a firing also. 2010 was done by the Indian Mujahideen. See, the Indian Mujahideen has a number of modules and they were spread over, I think, number of states. We name it Delhi, UP, Bihar, then Gujarat, then I think Karnataka. I mean, different states, they had the different modules.
There was that huge bombing which happened in Kerala also, that Indian Mujahideen.
So they were all over they had modules in all over the, what you call, country. I mean, number of states. So this 2010 blast that was done, that was done by Yasin Bhatkal and his other associates. Yasin Bhatkal was basically, if you remember, the Indian Mujahideen is headed by Riyaz Bhatkal and Iqbal Bhatkal. Riyaz Bhatkal and Iqbal Bhatkal were basically from Karnataka, and then subsequently they were ex-SIMI. Student Islamic Movement of India. After it was banned, then the members of the SIMI made, made this organization called Indian Mujahideen, which had the support of Lashkar. It was basically, had the support of Lashkar.
But not trained by Lashkar.
Not trained by Lashkar. They were all, local boys. All local boys who had been recruited. And see, making an ID nowadays is not a great thing.
But I remember that time these CDs were found with these Indian Mujahideen people where the training was
training.
there.
Basically it was not, you didn't go to a camp to get trained.
Correct.
But they were trained in the sense that you can learn from the CDs and all that. In fact, SIMI had training camps. I remember still in Madhya Pradesh and all that, they had training camps. Badal I'm not exactly sure. He was the chief of SIMI and all. The SIMI had training camps. So when the SIMI got became outlawed, then these people started Indian Mujahideen. And then these two guys, Riaz and Iqbal Bhatkal, they started this Indian Mujahideen and they set up bases, modules everywhere. And subsequent to that, they did blasts all over around 7 to 8 states. They did number of blasts and number of lives were lost. Large number of lives were lost.
But why did they attack, do you think, a Jama Masjid? If it was a Batla House thing, which anniversary of that? When
Jama Masjid was done basically to create that communal
and blame India,
blame
Hindus.
Blame the Hindu terrorists have done it and all that. Basically, that is what their intention that they had done.
Okay.
Yeah, and this Yasin Bhatkal he had married a local girl in Delhi only.
Okay.
Okhla or Jamia mein. And he was settled there. So when we busted this gang, that was called the Darbhanga module. We arrested a Pakistani also, and number of people from Darbhanga were arrested.
You went to Darbhanga?
No, I didn't go to Darbhanga. The teams were there. Yeah, and then subsequently, this module, after being busted, they again, after another some months, again some parts of the module had been left. They again committed some blasts. Then subsequently they were also arrested.
But you're talking about a time when Delhi was continuously facing these blasts. 2010, 2005. It was a period where Delhi was facing all these terror incidents which were happening. Tell me how is the mindset of the police at that stage when these blasts are happening? Do you feel overwhelmed? How is it?
No, we never felt overwhelmed, to tell you very frankly.
Time ही नहीं था
overwhelmed. Like even the Red Fort attack, Parliament attack, this blasts and all that. See, since we had been handling terrorism for quite some time, I was in the cell for more than 7.5 years. So we were sure that somewhere or the other they'll slip up. It's not that, they will be able to get away with it. And then what happens now? It's like when an incident takes place, it leaves you some clues. It's not that it's totally blind. Some clues are left. And then we work on those clues. If you get overwhelmed, you lose it. And and if like I was heading the unit, and if sort of gave it up, the team would have given up.
So tell me something. I want to ask you this question. Suppose like this Red Fort blast took place, जो भी हुआ, and we suddenly see that around the world we see that people sanitize the area. Out here we see that it becomes a tourist spot. Journalists picking up pieces, showing it on camera. People walking in that area. Why is it? And this is not the first time a bomb blast has happened. We've been facing bomb blasts throughout the country, like you yourself said. We don't have any SOPs. I even see cops. For example, outside India, you will see very standard operating procedures where when they're collecting evidence, they're using gloves, they're being very careful. Out here, we see people picking up stuff with their hand. All kinds of things are happening. Is it a question of training, resources? What? I just trying to figure out why we do what we do.
See, SOPs are there. SOPs are there for this is a crime scene. How you secure the crime scene and how you pick up evidence. All the SOPs are there. But at that point of time, the person who is there at the spot or who is the senior officer at the spot, he has to ensure that the scene of crime is totally barricaded. And then subsequently that the investigation starts. But maybe it was such a crowded area and it was difficult to sort of, secure the scene of crime. And maybe the scene of crime was scattered over quite a large area. So, but I think subsequently it was done. Initially, initially what happens? The local police reaches. Then
isn't this training to be given to
to everybody, to the local police too?
No, what happened? Initially, local police reaches. So, first though, once an incident has taken place and if it is a bomb blast, you need to sanitize the area and then move in. But what happens is local police reaches and then you are asked to tell the details and all that. क्या हुआ, कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ. तो वो फिर थोड़ा सा इधर उधर he starts.
3-4 घंटे तक, even when the forensics had not reached, and then subsequently we saw forensic guys also when they reached, we saw that they didn't have shoe covers on, and then somebody picks up something with the hand, gives it to another constable he's dressed like a constable. That guy looks at it like this and puts it in his pocket.
No.
These are all things which seem to us a little odd.
Yeah, definitely. It depends on, as I told you,
and then the media person.
That is
taking and moving aside.
I can understand that, if there are casualties and you're trying to rescue them, that, of course, that is understandable.
Yes,
But tourist spot, making it a tourist spot where everybody is going around, okay, people can take whatever, camera shots they want to take, but going inside, spoiling that area, I don't know. I would have thought that it's like decades now that we've been combating this. It started in the 80s, if you remember.
80s, I know.
When these Khalistani scumbags used to blow bombs, transistor bombs and what have you.
Transistor bombs in the Govindpuri mein pura inhone transistor bombs kiye the, and then the Odeon cinema mein bhi blast हुए थे. That was also then Majestic Cinema in क्या कहते हैं आपके चांदनी चौक में there were blasts, Sadar Bazaar में there were blasts. Blasts have been taking place.
So how is it? I'm going to come back to the mindset of these terrorists. How is a terrorist different from basic question? How is a terrorist different from a militant, different from a mafia guy, from an ordinary criminal? What is the difference in these?
So as I told you, terrorist is committed to its cause. Absolutely committed to its cause. Irrespective of whatever happens. There's not much of a difference between a terrorist and a militant. I at least don't make any distinction between a terrorist and a militant. They are more or less same. Now you come to the mafia. Mafia is not interested in creating chaos and terror. Mafia is interested in extortions. They are interested in money. उनको तो पैसा चाहिए. And that is why they act. Only because they want to create terror to extort money. They will not target any crowded places or they will not target any, place of national importance. They might target anyone whom they want to extort money from.
But this Dawood and all that did it, no, in Bombay?
That was separate.
Because by then he had transformed from a mafia to a terrorist.
Terrorist.
Okay.
That is different. See, in fact, there are criminal elements also who have joined terrorism. I mean, we have become terrorists. In fact, one of the, Indian Mujahideen, the Darbhanga module that he had busted, the leader was a criminal. Qatil Siddiqui bol ke tha, and he was a criminal. But he got involved in this, terror activities. I felt that his motivation was not religion but
There
money.
is mercenaries sometimes.
His motivation was not religion, his motivation was money.
It was the same with this guy. You remember there were 3 people who were released in Kandahar. One was this scumbag Masood Azhar. The other was this Umar Saeed Sheikh. And the third guy was a Kashmiri fellow by the name of Mushtaq Latram. Latram was his nom de guerre or nom de plume or whatever you want to call it. He was basically a local thug who then took to terrorism.
But he was very hardened. We interviewed SP Ved in the scene.
But
he interrogated Latram.
Yeah, but Latram later on became a terrorist.
Yeah.
He started off as a criminal, later on became a terrorist. And that was his revenue model. So at the end of it, he retained the name of, he was always referred to as Latram.
Latram, yeah.
Right? So that transformation very often happens between these criminals, can transcend into terrorism. Sometimes it's for ideological reasons, sometimes because it's a nice veneer which you take on. You get some respectability and you make lots of money.
Okay.
It happened a lot during the Khalistani movement. A lot of these characters, they were criminals basically. Even today.
You saw that era also.
Yeah, I mean...
Overlap hua tha aapka.
Yeah, it was overlapping, but...
in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s. I mean, at that time I was not in the anti-terror unit. I was basically in the field duties.
Okay.
Yeah, but we saw, Khalistani activities also. In fact, I must tell you this, they were involved in 2 major incidents. One was the kidnapping of Livio Radu, the Romanian diplomat. I mean, and the other was the kidnapping from New Friends Colony. They were the industrialist. There were major incidents in Delhi and they were kidnapped and taken and subsequently released after payment of ransom money. So we had seen that era also, Khalistani movement, and the blasts hote the, Satyam Cinema and all that were done by Khalistani terrorists. I have seen the era of Khalistani terrorists. I have seen the era of Kashmiri militants. I have seen the era of
now this
Indian Mujahideen. I have seen the era of, and see, during our period, I mean, the major action that was done, the suicidal attacks were done by the Pakistanis. I mean, there was a lot of infiltration of Pakistan. That was the height of terrorism. When we fought terrorism, it was at its height.
Okay.
And I must, compliment the intelligence agencies and all the organizations that were fighting terrorism at that point of time. That time we didn't have NIA or anything. It was the state, police organizations having their own separate specialized units for handling terrorism.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, one thing which is you feel is that everybody has to be now sensitized towards this. What has happened now is making everybody aware that they are amongst us. That people like us, it's not restricted to conflict zones somewhere in the northeast, somewhere in Kashmir. They are spread out somewhere in Kerala or Karnataka or Naxal area within. They're not in hinterland or Mufassil India. They're amongst
Stereotypes are
everybody.
dead.
Stereotypes are dead. So now they're amongst us. One way is that we all educate ourselves as to what are the warning signals. Keep our antenna up. If we are seeing amongst us somebody is getting, radicalized in some manner, which we now know as radicalization. They are becoming quieter. They are becoming more spiritual, to say. Watch out for these signals. How does one educate oneself to see the warning signals?
See, basically, if you educate the public, you have to educate the police also. at the same time. Whoever is coming to the police station, he'll come to the local police station. He should have that confidence in the local police that look, if I tell something, it will be kept secret. It's not that you go and tell the other person against whom I have told that look, किसी ने आके मेरे को कहा था. So that sort of sensitization has to be done. And that it has to be done at an, what you call, at the top level. See, all the instructions have to come from the top level. So if that is done, and then we have education of the public, maybe we might get information from the public. But sensitization of both are important.
That 2006 Mumbai blast, all 12 accused were released. From after so many years, they've all come out.
I'll come to that.
Was the case
No,
weak?
please,
What
I'd love to
happened?
hear you because
See, I'll come to that. What happens basically is like blasts. I'm not talking about direct attacks and all that. I'm talking about blasts. See, it is very difficult to collect evidence linking the perpetrator with the blast. I'll tell you the reason why. He comes, anyone, I'm saying, plants the, IED or whatever it is, and then slips away. Blast takes place. If you have a sort of a CCTV there, they're captured, and our CCTVs, it's all grainy pictures. It's difficult to recognize. So, even if you have a CCTV, most of the places you don't have CCTVs. If you have a CCTV, that if the picture comes, then only you have some sort of evidence linking the perpetrator with the crime. Otherwise, the court demands to prove that this person A was there at the spot at the time when the blast took place. It's very difficult. You can do the statistics, I was telling you very plainly. In most of the blast cases,
They come out, yeah.
they are released only because of this. Because it is very difficult. See, I arrest a terrorist, he says I have committed blasts in these places. That is only a disclosure statement. It has to be substantiated by
Evidence.
concrete evidence. So
Sushant,
it is very difficult. It is easy.
यही बोल रहे हैं ना कि अभी ये blast हुआ है. Now this whole doctor network has come out. Everybody is saying 10 years from now these guys will come out.
So
This, what happens basically, this doctor network that has been blasted, they will be held liable for the recovery of the explosives, arms and ammunition.
That act.
This doctor
वो तो
network.
मतलब clearly पकड़े गए ना.
हाँ, जहाँ पर जो पकड़े गए हैं, for the arms and ammunition.
But not the blast.
Blast, it will be difficult. There will maybe a disclosure. They may say that we also knew about the
But
blast,
how
we
did
knew
you?
about this.
Unless
and all
there's
that.
electronic evidence or
Some evidence, some eyewitness. That who says that, look, I've seen this guy here at the spot, and I was also there at the spot, and then he left this IED and went.
Or
and
if they have
after-
some plans, paper plans, or that they were
Paper
planning
plans
to.
are also not, they are all what you call corroborative evidence.
Okay.
It corroborates the fact that he has told something. But the
Jane
fact
वाला
is,
diary यार.
Huh.
but the-
Jane वाला diary.
Was paper,
was paper.
but they all got acquitted.
They all got
the fact,
acquitted because
whether he was there or not, how do you prove? I can make something on paper. It's on paper, no? But I may have executed it or not.
If this lady, this Lucknow lady, doctor, if she has a plan that Babri Masjid के anniversary पे हमने जाके
ऐसे
बिरला
थोड़ी-
मंदिर
नहीं
पे
ऐसा थोड़ी होता है क्योंकि वो कोई
See, I'll tell you,
affidavit थोड़ी
I'll
दे
just
रही
But
है.
नहीं, हाँ, सबके पास डायरी होती है यार.
नहीं, नहीं,
सुशांत.
ऐसे
No,
क्यों
I'll
नहीं
just tell you one more
But
thing.
you
See,
want-
under the UAPA, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act,
हाँ.
a statement made in front of
Shaheen
a
Saeed.
Shaheen Saeed.
a
हाँ.
statement made in front of a statement recorded by a deputy commissioner of police or a superintendent of police is evidence in court. But the question is whether the courts accept that evidence or not. Otherwise, we have in the what do you call PMLA, Money Laundering Act, there is in UAPA also. But it depends on the court whether he accepts that what he has told the police officer is
अभी आ
correct, he
जाएगा
or
ना?
she.
There are two-
Human
correct or
rights
not.
organizations will
there-
come up
and,
with the rights of these.
There are two issues. Mr. Chan talks about CCTV cameras. Let's take the case of, which to my mind is a very clear case of terrorism, the Udaipur beheading case.
हाँ.
Right? The guys were on CCTV. Their
Yeah.
mugshots are captured. They've been they've at least been given bail or something.
Yeah, they're
right?
out on bail. Yeah.
Why?
Correct.
That's a miscarriage. That's a very clear miscarriage of justice. And somebody should be asking the judges or the local cops. Either the cops did not, because we are looking at only the headlines that they've been given bail. Maybe the local cops didn't make the case properly. I don't know.
Maybe,
it is
I mean,
entirely possible.
yeah, entirely possible.
So there is a case to be made for the local cops when they are making the case. I don't know, sir, whether you do have the prosecutors.
Yes.
Huh?
That process is there.
That
It has
process, okay. So that is one.
It goes through judicial, scrutiny, legal scrutiny.
No, but that is when you are filing the case.
I mean,
but when you're
during the
collecting-
investigation,
Huh.
you have prosecutors helping you in major cases, not in all cases.
Yeah, but
this
you
is
know,
a major.
This will
These
be a
are the
major.
major-
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it
this
should
is
have
one.
been. It
So
should have been
this
there.
this will be one
Definitely,
thing. The second problem is that it's very easy, and sometimes it's probably correct, to blame the judges. But look, if you are a judge, you have to rule. Sometimes it's bias of the judges which enters the thing. Sometimes it is influencing the judiciary, either through bribes or through threats. We know that has also happened.
And media trials, जो कहते हैं.
And media trials. Okay, that was also happened. But let us assume that none of those factors are operating. A judge is sitting without any influence on him, and he is looking at a case, right? He has to rule on the basis of the law.
Yeah.
Now, if, as Mr. Chand is saying, if the law does not provide for certain things, how can the judge say, yaar, just because Mr. Chand is saying that Smita Prakash was there, she is responsible for a bomb blast, does not make you responsible for a bomb blast, right? What is the other evidence which nails her involvement in this bomb blast? That is where the problem starts coming in. Now, again, maybe I'm being presumptuous. He has more experience. He's been there, done that. Maybe there needs to be, and beyond simply making a statement before a police officer or a judge, magistrate. Maybe a magistrate still all right. But उससे भी मुकर सकते हो. You can turn hostile despite having
Yes,
made a statement to the magistrate.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's not perjury then?
But
no, you see.
have you know of anybody who's been booked for perjury in this country?
In this country,
Yeah.
that's also.
See, basically, what they do is basically, I'll just interrupt. They say it is coercion.
Okay.
Although there are rules are there that they should be kept separately and all that, but they say it's coercion. And so what you need is, apart from a statement in front of a police officer, and subsequently it is accepted by the judge at that point of time, is corroborative evidence, other evidence.
Yeah.
The judge asks, obviously the legal...
So maybe there is a case to be made, and this is where certain imaginativeness needs to come in the law of what constitutes corroborative evidence. Right? It cannot be just a statement.
Okay.
I don't know how practical and feasible it is, but maybe there could be certain other things which you can come up with on what might constitute corroborative evidence in a particular case like this. So, in this particular case, the fact that these guys, and in many cases, sir, conspiracy में भी यही problem होती है.
Conspiracy में तो it's very difficult to
The
prove
same
a conspiracy.
problem.
It failed. Trial court upheld our parliament attack में. He convicted all of them. But in the high court, see, we regarding Gilani, I will just say, we could link him with the mobile calls at that point of time. That the time when the incident was took place, Afzal was in contact with Gilani, but Gilani was not at the spot. But High Court High Court was clear that look, just having this this evidence on record, mobile evidence is not enough to
But sir,
convict him.
tell me something. At that point of time, maybe today that kind of evidence might still be upheld in the court. But back then, when the parliament attack happened, it wasn't going to. There was no provision in law to accept that. So while you had nailed the guy, and which is my beef with most of these third-rate bloody human rightists, these so-called activists, most of them are terrorists. The overground phase of the underground. These people, they started giving these glowing certificates to this bastard Gilani. right? He is an innocent fellow, has been nailed by the police, etc., etc. He got away on a technicality. He was hand in glove in that entire plot. And in many cases, people who get released after 10, 12, 14 years in jail, they are not picked up simply because, Mr. Ashok Chand ko ji शौक चढ़ा था किसी को उठा के जेल में डाल दो. Not because of that.
They
Sorry.
are part of the plot, but then
Definitely,
evidence की वजह से.
Before
And
the
they all come
Parliament
out
attack, we didn't know who was Jilani or who was Muhammad Afzal, who was Shaukat. I mean, none of us.
And they all
knew
come
them.
out pretending that they
Yeah.
are, very innocent lambs in the wood who have been done
And this is
down
going to
by
happen
these.
in this case
Always,
also,
it'll-
probably.
In fact,
it has
but,
already
in
started,
the Parliament
hasn't it?
attack, when we went on appeal to the Supreme Court, although didn't overturn the High Court judgment, but remarked that the needle of suspicion also points towards
Gilani.
I mean, that was an indication that
But
look, you are not above
But you
board.
got away on a technicality, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in the law, people need to rethink the law a little bit and see what other things can constitute to be corroborative evidence which will be upheld by the courts.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा.
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है.
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दें?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब.
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप.
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI. It does not lie.